Top of the morning folks, today from the Reddit Rainforest. What's something about you that nobody knows since it never comes up and nobody asks? Once, when I was like 2 or 3, my family and I went shopping at the nearby strip mall. At some point, I lost my parents and sister. I remember crying in front of one of those large stacked displays of TVs, all playing the song and music video to Britney Spears' Oops. I did it again for a really long time before anyone found me. Now, the weird part. Whenever something bad is about to come up in my dreams, that song starts playing. I can preemptively wake myself up from nightmares because Oops, I Did It Again will start playing. Right on cue. Right before anything really awful happens. Sometimes I even see the music video. This was not even a super traumatic incident or anything. I guess the fact that I still remember it is a testament to how good of a childhood I had. I'm a twin. Could know someone for years, and it never comes up. But when it's finally mentioned, it's so mind-blowing to them that I have a twin, because they have known me for so long and did not know I have a twin, too. He lives in a different city, so I do not see him much. It does not come up much, and people are always so surprised, especially since I'm a woman. They always think identical first, then realize that's not possible. That white streak in my hair is not dye, it's natural. Everyone just assumes I dye it and does not ask about it. I actually have epilepsy. Thankfully I have been seizure free for 13 years. As a kid, I could nibble American cheese into any state shape in most large countries. It was my talent when I was interviewed for commercials once, and it got me on Kids Say the Darndest Things. I once stayed up as long as I could without sleep just because. And I was also very depressed at the time. The results were interesting. I stayed up about 5 days straight before passing out for a few hours. Then stayed up again as long as possible. Rinse and repeat. I did this for 2-1/2-ish weeks. My body eventually did microsleeps at the last half. Sleep deprivation severe enough your body basically forces unconsciousness that lasts a few seconds. My only source of sleep was crashing for 3-4 hours every couple of nights, and the microsleeps. It was a competition with myself and a growing infatuation with my own morbid experiment. It became almost like an addiction that I still get urges to partake in, but have not done for 2 years now. I hallucinated that my room turned green. Everything I saw looked more vivid, and geometric shapes and designs hovered over me like a cloud. All the shadows liked to move when I was not looking at them. I felt a bit drunk and things were surreal. I was out of touch. My movements were like moving through water that was both thick yet thin. I also could not do basic math as I tried to count how many hours I stayed up and just did not understand what I was writing as it made no sense. Would not recommend as it's extremely stupid to be doing, and I stopped after that lol. I cannot stress that last part enough, as some people in the comments do not get it. Do not do it, it's stupid. You're better off having a drink or two, since that's all it really feels like. Doing what I did is dangerous and leaves damage for life. It can kill you. I did a ton of drugs as a young adult and committed some felonies. But I never got caught and decided to take a different path when all my friends started getting locked up. Not a snitch, just more careful. Now I work at a prison with people who were convicted of the same types of things I used to be involved in. Most of them assume I do not even know what marijuana looks like. If anyone knew the truth, it would hurt my credibility. But those experiences are actually what make me good at my job. I can do the Billie Jean dance. I plan really nice parties and events for people and someday hope someone does it for me. I'm ambidextrous. I was born a righty, but I had my right arm really badly broken as a kid and took a while to heal. Time during which I had to adjust to using my left hand for most of the things. After my right arm finally healed, I still used my left hand for a while because I was so used to it, but once I started reusing my right one, it was still so natural. So I kind of trained my left one to work just as well as the dominant one. Nobody really gives a malarkey, although one of my direct reports noticed once that my handwriting is just as calligraphic with my left hand as it is with my right one. I have polymorphous light eruption. Basically, I get a huge rash when I'm exposed to direct sunlight, mostly on my back, chest, and neck. Sometimes I'll get it on my belly and arms. It itches and burns and takes almost an hour to completely go away once I'm out of the sun. Also, I have crippling fear of getting my throat slit. I can't watch it in movies. I hate it even typing it. Whenever my husband kisses me, my nose starts running. He lovingly refers to me as snots. My mother tried to kill me in utero at 8 months because I was a product of an affair. Why I refused to go abroad for my higher education. I actually had so severe mental health issues that I would not have survived alone there. I'm worse now, but at least I'm alive and done with my college. I have lived on my own since 10. I learned at an early age sometimes you have to make sacrifices you hope later on pay off. My mom died a few months after giving birth to me, and my father was an alcoholic who was either working at the bar or passed out drunk at home. At 12 he told me I was not his son, just a roommate. I shopped, I cooked, I cleaned, I balanced the budget, I paid the bills, I got myself to school, I got myself home, I called when plumbing was broken or the house needed repairs, and occasionally I sat quietly in a bar watching my roommate get in bar fights. I got on a roll and graduated top of my class, got 3 years of college and paid scholarship. I eventually moved out on a promise he would change and give me a sum of money when he sold the house and his vehicle. I moved to my college town with my high school sweetheart and were en route to be married. She developed brain cancer and won. We celebrated. She went home for a family emergency and her brain tumor came back. She did not win round 2, unrelated to her death. My father killed himself months after my wife died. I entered a bad relationship to not feel alone. I pushed through it for years and finished college top of my class and got a good job. She cheated on me. I did not cope well and eventually lost my apartment, my job, and went homeless. I became very ill and was hospitalized. She left. I was hospitalized again after an attempted suicide. Eventually a college friend found me on the streets and took me in. I got a retail job and started at minimum wage and working my way up. I got stable, therapy, and some help. He set boundaries and rules and respect and peace and understanding. I got a better job. He had to move. I moved back on my own and felt so loved that I started doing everything nice I could for every person around me. I helped neighbors buy groceries. I helped friends who needed a place to stay. I volunteered at the soup kitchen, homeless shelter, and a suicide hotline. I got a better job and am now middle class. I never bring any of it up because I do not want my past to define my future or to limit me. I sacrificed a ton just to get this stable footing and have lived so many lives. This is just the short version of all the events. I try to stay in the moment and leave the painful past behind when I can. I love to hug people. Nobody knows, but I just want a hug from someone other than my parents. I'm flexible enough to give myself head. I'm quite good at barking. When I was younger I would go by the window and bark across the neighborhood and some dogs would bark back non-stop. Thinking it's a dog. It feels like I have made a connection with them. Very nice feeling. I'm scared of the dark to the point where I carry a flashlight on me almost constantly just in case. I have a reverse acrophobia. If I stare at the sky for too long or am inside in a building with a high ceiling, I get anxious and start to tremble, thinking at any moment the world will turn upside down and crush me to death. I'm the therapist of all my friends. I help them with malarkey they do not know how to handle. Problem is, I need my own therapist that can help me, but I do not. So I feel like more and more malarkey every day and I have to put up a fun-loving friend so they do not feel bad. I'm almost 4 years clean from heroin. Half my pubes are blonde. Yes, it is natural. No, I do not know why. So many things really, but here's the weirdest one. I can tell which direction. East, west, northeast, etc. My head pointed towards in almost every single bed I have slept, even if it was just for a night. I sweat a lot. Whenever my socks are off, a minute or 2 after putting them back on I'll stop sweating. When I was 2, I broke my arm and I had a cast all the way up to my shoulder. I guess since the break was in the middle of my arm the doctor did not think to x-ray my actual hand and fingers. Now, 14 years later, my middle finger does not move properly. It's sitting on top of my knuckle. It constantly clicks and I cannot close my hand without it bumping over my knuckle. Thanks Dr. Tyran. I have schizoaffective disorder, but am very stable, so people do not know about it unless I tell them. I have bipolar disorder and was diagnosed 30 years ago. I work in a professional field and have a well-established career. People would be shocked if they knew. I spent a decent amount of time in the military, have been to Afghan, have seen malarkey and done some mad stuff, but I love sewing and want a sewing machine badly. My friends and family think that I'm this masculine stereotypical bloke, but I just want a nice cup of Yorkshire tea and so. I'm 29. Edit. Thanks for all your support and help. When payday comes round I'm gonna get myself a decent one. I think I will practice with a cheap second-hand one first. I can make convincing dinosaur noises, in the Jurassic Park sense, on command. Specifically, raptors and pterodactyls are my specialty. I'm also a girl so yeah it never really comes up. I cannot burp. At all. 0 burps ever. Same. I grew up thinking something was wrong with me, but because of this, I cannot drink soda because the carbonation just sits in my chest and creates pain. I'm terrified to finish projects because I'm scared to be done and have free time. My mom made me paranoid. She'd give me malarkey to do anytime I was busy once I hit high school. I have a huge collection of Godzilla action figures. My family knows, but that's it. I go ballistic when there isn't in my room and on my stuff. I do not show it, but if I see an ant ... I will be hunting that little ducker's entry hole until I find it. Are there several? I go full Germany with gas attacks during World War I mode and use either powder or a spray. It's been 4-6 years since I saw one in my room, but I'm always on alert. It triggers me when I find one on the floor outside of my room, and until I figure out it's just the cat that has dragged it in, I'm in full panic mode. Get Hawkeye vision and cannot think of something else until I calm down. If I could ever have a wish, I would say to make all ants disappear. Duck ants. I do not care what they do for the nature. I have BS in computer science and math, manuscript in information science, know 13 different programming languages, trained in fuel burn modeling of a nuclear reactor. To my family and friends I'm the guy that can fix their PC. I have an extra tooth. It sits bottom row smack in the middle. 2 of my teeth fused at the root when I was young, or maybe before I was born. My parents wanted to have it pulled when I was getting my braces, but because it does not cause any problems, they left it be. Plus it would have added a year to my already 1.5-year braces sentence. No thank you. Unfortunately that is all there is for this video, but do not worry there are many more coming. Like and subscribe for more videos from the Reddit Rainforest. Thanks for watching.